All right, guys, you should hear me. This is Hake News with, not with the Jesse Lee Peterson show, because I'm not used to hearing that not on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. I wanted to give you guys, I'm James Hake of the Hake Report, and we're doing a little quick pre-news thing because it is a minute before 9 and I don't want to start until 9 or after. But I wanted to quickly tell you, it's Sunday, July 28th, 2019, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Quick news update. President Trump has been railing on Black Democrat Representative Elijah Cummings, Democrat from Maryland. Thank God. And I love it. He called Baltimore a rodent-infested mess and told Cummings to clean up his district. Jesse Lee Peterson tweeted about a black CNN host who broke down crying like a baby. And that CNN host pointed out the fact that President Trump always refers to black and Hispanic areas as infested, crime-infested, disease-infested, Ebola-infested. So he's all mad about that. But thank God for Trump. He's the one to address this racial issue. And separately, I saw a headline that the Supreme Court has finally allowed President Trump to appropriate the military funds, as he's been trying to do, to build the wall, build at least some wall, and which is so great. Personal note, I've seen a lot of phony doubters, Trump haters, people who didn't even vote for Trump, and, you know, people who pretend to be on the right or for what's right or love white people. They don't. They doubt. They're doubters. I've seen people say, he's not doing all he can. He could appropriate the military funds. He already tried, and they tried to block him, but the Supreme Court has finally allowed him to do so. Also, Drudge reports that there is a video of border agents giving illegals a hand up a hill around the wall into the USA. It's crazy. See, I told you that President Trump is one man alone fighting the whole rest of the government. There are some decent people, but there's, even among the border agents, apparently there's weakness and corruption. So that's just a quick little news update. Let's go ahead and just start with the intro because it is 9 a.m. officially. Good morning, guys. Hope you like my original song for Sunday. Thank you, Joel. America brought 9/11 upon itself. This is White History Month, and I want to talk about it. And I'm not a blame America type of guy, but I want to talk about the way that we brought it on ourselves.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
And shout out to AJ Gallardo, who made the original The Hake Report intro song. Some of you may not have heard it before because you're newish fans, you're newbies, you're normies. And so that was the original song created, I think it was December 24th or 25th, 2017 by AJ Gallardo when a friend of mine who came on to my show when I was up in Big Bear over Christmas, that was the time when I fired Joel and S1. I'll tell you more about that later if you want to. You can call in 888-775-3773. But first, you can call in now, but first before I get to the calls, I appreciate it, I want to talk about this video that I came across, which I am not going to play for you. It's owned by NBC and whatever. It's about 9/11, and it was the first show that the comedian / late night host Conan O'Brien presented after the 9/11 2001 terror attacks in New York City, where the Muslims, the Saudi Muslim terrorists, Al-Qaeda people, hijacked airplanes and flew them into the Twin Towers, World Trade Center, and they flew a plane into the Pentagon, I believe, and some Americans said, "Let's roll," and de-hijacked a plane and then it flew into a field in Pennsylvania. And this all took place early one weekday morning, September 11th, 2001. A lot of you remember it. Some of you are like young. But New Yorkers, I've noticed, were hit really hard emotionally about it. And Conan O'Brien talks about it, about, hey, this is our first episode, and it was like the 14th or the 16th, or I think it was the 14th of September, like 3 days after the attack. And he's all somber, appropriately, right? But I noticed that these people, these terrorists, are all about showing their wannabe strength. And then us, we're all about, by saying us, Americans, liberals specifically, because they run the mainstream, are all about showing weakness. And that was all he did, was show weakness. He was just very sensitive, very politically correct. He talked about how he and some of his, the people that work with him to put on this show, many of them really believe that they should need to go forward. And he just looked defeated. And he kissed up to all religions unnecessarily. He talked about how he was raised Catholic, and so he went across the street from the studio over in New York City, where he's broadcasted his show, late night show. And he talked about how he went into this St. Peter's or something like that, Catholic church, cathedral. And he said, I don't really talk about religion, and it doesn't matter what religion you are. It's just it's a beautiful structure. And we have a lot of beautiful, we have a whole lot of beauty and stuff still standing. People and whatever. He's basically saying that there's still a lot left of New York City, even though a huge bite got taken out of the New York skyline and stuff like that. So it rubbed me the wrong way. It was boring. He wasn't funny. He's supposed to be funny. And I wasn't impressed with it. I thought about how President Trump reacted, because I've seen one little short clip of President Trump talking about what it would cost, and I think he predicted something like $30 billion or something to rebuild, and that's about what it cost. But he just projected strength. He was appropriately serious, President Trump was. I mean, Donald Trump then, at that point. But he wasn't showing weakness. He wasn't showing unnecessary political correctness and all that stuff. And it's just I left a comment on there, by the way. I forget what exactly I said. I know I said it boring. I cut it off after less than 8 minutes. They kill our people, and we just show weakness and sensitive, politically correct crap. And I apologize for using that word, but I just had to, because it just makes me want to spit. And it has only gotten worse. Every time there's a terror attack, everybody fearmongers about Islamophobia. Don't blame all Muslims and stuff like that, as if we don't know that. They stepped up so-called security practices. The TSA is so invasive now, right? But they've only become more accepting of evil. They've let aliens come in unchecked, totally open borders. They kiss up to cultural destruction. Since that time, we've got gay marriage, we've got expanded abortions, we have Planned Parenthood selling baby body parts. We have all kinds of multiple Muslim terror attacks, probably an increased Muslim population in our country. And Muslims tend to be liberals, which is bad for the country. And fear has increased, anger has increased, political correct, like I said, crap has increased, division has increased. The blacks started rioting all the more with Black Lives Matter. We got Obama elected, who has a Muslim background, atheist too, liberal, socialist. His dad was a communist, I think. A Muslim turned atheist, I think his dad was. And his mother hated America and white people. She kept on marrying non-whites. She kept on marrying Muslims. So it's just a turnoff for me seeing that. I kind of like Conan of all the late night hosts, but not impressed. So I will get to your calls, but one more quick thing that I wanted to get to about our fault, because it is our fault that our country has gone down, that whites are in a major decline and everything else. And, oh yeah. We may get back to 9/11. You guys can call in about it. I don't care. I don't really care about the conspiracy theories, but you can call in about it, because that is part of white history. Conspiracy theories are a part of white history, unfortunately. But anyways, selfish whites don't make babies. I guess you could say myself included, but I was on this app called Whisper. I found it via Pinterest, where I go to look for memes. I've gone to look for memes to share on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show Facebook page and social media and stuff. And I came across these Whisper screenshots. And Whisper is an app in which you don't actually whisper, you just type something, and you can choose a background behind it, a picture, and it is it's anonymous, and then other people in the area, in the country, and worldwide, I guess, can see them. If you have location services turned on to your smartphone, somebody can see somebody whispered in your area, and I think it's mainly like a female-used app. It seems like it, but I don't know. It's just kind of interesting because you see the aspects of the culture. It's used to share secrets, yeah. It's like making a postcard. But go to the first one. So I saw this one that caught my eye. It was a popular whisper. I say whisper. If you hear whisper, think of it as a tweet, except it's totally anonymous. Okay? So I saw a popular whisper that said, I spent all of those years worrying about accidentally getting pregnant. Now I'm trying to get pregnant and I can't. And I said, isn't that always the way, right? Making white babies is it's not a push amongst the mainstream culture. It's not a push amongst the media. It's not a push amongst the politicians. Not a push among the experts. I've only seen two people push for making white babies, or making babies, period. And that is Jesse Lee Peterson and Representative Stephen King, Congressman Stephen King, the Republican from Iowa who was called a white supremacist by idiots. And Steve King, by the way, Representative Steve King, the man from Iowa, he was decrying Obamacare because Obamacare, which some of you liberal people think it was a good thing. It wasn't. Obamacare funded contraceptives, birth control, which is evil. And Steve King is saying we need to make more. Birth control is not health care, for one. We need to be having more babies, not fewer, for two. And so he was pushing for that. And that is considered white supremacist because white nationalist types tend to be also concerned about the declining white population. Rightly so. But just because they can associate it with white nationalists, they linked him to that and said, as it's just fear-mongering, white nationalism is not a problem in the country. So I go on Whisper and see that popular one. It had 586 likes, by the way. Go to the very first one and then go to the second one. 586 likes on the bottom. You see the hearts? If you happen to be watching. And then below, this morning, is 198. What the heck happened? Maybe it flipped. Maybe they don't have thousands. So maybe that's 1,198. Who knows? But it looked to me like it might be shenanigans, conspiracy theory. But, so this woman, presumably, not a troll, said that They've been taking contraceptives. She's been taking contraceptives and now can't get pregnant. So I replied twice to this whisper. At first I said, be patient, my friend's sister messed up her body with birth control. I said a different term, but whatever. With birth control pills. And he said it took her years to get of being off the pill before she could make a baby. And this person was Mexican. That was a coworker. Actual person who had a license too. It was legal. Then I whispered, this is feminism and the sexual revolution for you. Leaves women disappointed, trying to make babies past their prime. And that is like one thing that it's so obvious. It's a total obvious setup, but they don't see it coming. You can see it coming. You know how you can see stuff coming within the life directions and choices that you make? And then you're like, all disappointed and mad when it happens. And you don't really see the false solution. And this was one person, but there are multiple people who are disappointed. I wonder if they've done any studies about this, any surveys. People who do surveys tend to have like a liberal agenda. So I saw some other ones. Here are some other ones. I think you guys have some of these. Found out that I'm infertile. This is a woman talking, presumably. When I think about all the money I wasted on expensive birth control during my lifetime, I get super PO'd. And like the birth control didn't possibly make her infertile. Another woman said, I have the same problem, just have faith. This one's kind of graphic. It can take a while for your body to ovulate after being on certain forms of BC, birth control. It took over 18 months to get my period after getting off depot. I don't know what that is. It must be some type of birth control. And that doesn't guarantee ovulation. Women just messing with their bodies. Here's a beauty. I'll never for the life of me understand. Oh, I forgot to censor this. Oh, well. Why that people that actually try to have children, meaning parenthood sucks A. Here's another one. Oh my gosh, I say this so much. It's hard to get pregnant when you want to. Keep practicing sending baby dust. So they're trying to play God instead of letting God choose when they have babies. This is how it goes sometimes. The doctors will tell you stressing or worrying over it or trying too hard makes it harder to conceive. Another one, it's funny how life works sometimes. Another one, literally my biggest fear, but now I don't know if I even want kids. It's crazy. It's like the brainwashing of like selfishness. I get you completely. I've been off contraceptives for nearly 3 years and we're still no closer. It breaks my heart every time I get my period. See, these women are unhappy. Another one, girl, same. I've been trying for 8 months now and nothing. If I knew that was the case, I don't think I needed to try so hard to use contraceptives. And then it has an unamused emoji face. Unamused face emoji. Another whisper reads, same. So, like, interestingly, it gets worse because there was another popular whisper that I came across on the popular section of Whisper app. Also from a woman, apparently, though, calling herself #unpopularprincess, promoting vasectomies. And I know multiple guys that have gotten vasectomies, young guys, too. Getting a vasectomy doesn't make you less of a man, she says. Just prevents unwanted pregnancies and also reversible, which is not necessarily true. It shouldn't be just solely on women to be responsible. #unpopularprincess. So that indicates that it was a woman saying that. And a lot of the whispered replies, I don't have them, but they're a disgrace. Women whispering that they wish their husband or fellow adulterer, because this is a whisper app, so they expose all their nasty secrets, would get a vasectomy. A vasectomy is an operation to make men so they can't have babies, right? Some idiot whispered, good for you, the planet is overpopulated enough. I don't think I have these ones. I stopped at 10 or 12. Some stupid woman, obviously it's a woman, with liberal female so-called logic said, of course it doesn't make you less of a man. Just like getting your tubes tied doesn't make you less of a woman. Do people actually think this? And this is like, so far, this is the spoiling American or Western culture where people are spoiled and just want to have fun and not responsibility. And it's infected so many of us. This one here is ridiculous from an actual male, unless she's trolling. Loving and obeying God made me king of my household. Getting a vasectomy helped prove how much I love my wife. That's embarrassing. Can I talk about black people now? I think this guy might have been black because he said king of his household. Just speculating. Swimmer free for you and me. LOL. Vasectomies are sexy AF. Agreed. Top 10 best things I ever did. These are guys saying this. Here's a nasty one. It's kind of hilarious. But all these but cancer replies from dudes because supposedly you can get cancer from this stuff. Vasectomies. Colon cancer, I heard. I'm not sure. And that's just the rumor that I saw floating around. And yet they still expect you to put out like your own health isn't at risk lest they find someone else willing. Shrug emoji, facepalm emoji. So that's that. That's just like so detached from reality. I don't know, man. Anyways, let me get to some calls. 888-775-3773. Steven, first-time caller out of Raleigh, North Carolina. How are you, Steven?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you.
All right. I hate to take you away from
No, you're fine.
the topic of, that you're discussing, but my question to you is how you came about meeting Jesse, and perhaps if you don't mind getting a little personal about like what maybe what you were going through at the time and how he helped you, and something like that, if you don't mind elaborating on that.
All right. It was 2007, and I was kind of working part-time for my parents, and then I up and took off to go see some friends up in the Pacific Northwest, and some friends from college, guys that I really respected. I felt, like a friendship with, I felt that they were real friends.
Yeah.
Turns out I was kind of wrong, actually. But up there, they turned on me. They're liberals. But I don't know. I kind of turned on them, to be honest. But it takes two to tango to ruin a friendship, I suppose you could say, sometimes. But anyways, up there, I was going to different churches and things. And at one place, some guy said, "You're from L.A. You should check out Jesse Peterson. Brotherhood of a New Destiny." He butchered the name. It's actually Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny. But anyways, I was able to Google it and found when I returned home, I found it. The church came up to the church service. Jesse was actually out of town, but I noticed that men were kind of leading. Men were leading. They weren't kind of leading. There was a man in Jesse's place leading the church service, and another guy, Patrick, you may be familiar with, also leading the situation. And the next week, Jesse did come back. He was doing a lot of speaking tours at that point. But that's basically, and I was looking for like real Christianity. And I didn't like the acceptance of sin and stuff that a lot of people, women and men, were pushing. This you'll never really change type of stuff. You just have to keep doing the best you can. You're strong, but you're not when you know you're not strong.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. So I didn't like all the excuses. I didn't like the women leading the church services. Even when there's a male pastor, it seems like most of the other people leading the situation are women. And
beta pastors.
Maybe, yeah. I just didn't. Well, even the men, these women had husbands, but the husbands were more like broken down. And I just noticed that amongst brothers and sisters, the sister is usually better adjusted, seemingly at least, and the male is usually more broken down in some way or other, or at least outwardly. On the inside, they're both a mess, right? But anyways, I just didn't like all of that, and so I didn't know anything about politics. Interestingly enough, my father, my brother, and other people knew about Jesse because they'd seen him on Fox News and stuff. I didn't, I was never really into politics. And so it was more about the spiritual
stuff.
stuff.
I kind of got more into politics, honestly, listening to both you and Jesse.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Same here, actually.
I've always kind of had a conservative, sort of viewpoint.
Yeah.
But and I guess you could say that even at this moment, I'm in a fallen state, so to speak. But it's been like almost a year now, and just listening to, all y'all, it's really super helpful.
Nice.
So definitely appreciate it.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
Absolutely.
How did you come across Jesse?
I guess a little over a year ago, maybe. I just started trying out different podcasts, went through all the different ones, like, the typical ones, like Joe Rogan, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I stumbled upon Gavin McInnes and, watched his Get Off My Lawn program. And then I guess it just showed up in my feed one day, on my YouTube feed, Jesse Lee Peterson.
Nice.
And I started watching him, and I really, honestly, have pretty much just stuck with him.
Yeah.
I kind of strayed away from everyone else.
It's unique. His
the
show.
way I kind of see it is like, even if he's so entertaining to me that even if for some reason you don't agree with anything he says,
Yeah.
just for the sake of, even though he stands by everything he says, but his delivery, he's very comical to me, but I take him seriously at the same time.
Right.
And I think that's what's helpful.
Yeah.
It just it helps make my day go by very well. Like I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous.
You're fine.
But yeah, I think he's I'm watching when you guys put up the older ones from like the public access.
Yeah.
And I kind of see like the how he's kind of throughout time how he's kind of not transformed is not the right word, but you know what I mean. Like he's just
he's definitely grown.
How he came into his own of it. Even though he kind of always had those same sort of sets of values. Just the way he's just gung-ho about it, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I noticed that back then, when in the 90s shows, he was talking about we. Why do we have this referring to black people? And now he's all, you people. Because he's totally into his real identity as opposed to fake racial identity, which is nice. And he's still called to help the blacks first, but he helps everyone. Kind of like how Paul, I think, was called first to the Jews, then to the Gentiles. Something like that.
Yeah, and to touch on kind of what you were discussing today, I'm definitely pro-life. And one thing I find kind of interesting is, like, I have a brother who just had, a daughter. She just turned 2. But he's all pro-choice and stuff. So it's just strange to me in a sense that when you have something that you bring into this world, something like, the life like that and the gift of that, and how you can still have the value, still try to, say, oh, it's the woman's choice type of thing. Like, I think it's more of like giving in to like, not trying to sound so-called controversial when really you're just trying to sound right. It's the right thing. It's not. It's like right versus wrong, like Jesse says. Yeah,
that's the feeling that I got about Conan O'Brien when he was talking about this 9/11 thing. It was just bending over backwards, not to appease the liberals who, the liberal hate mob that want to overreact to every little perceived slight. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And so you end up going along with evil. It's white people, man. Shameful. It's that kiss up culture.
It's so crazy how like people get so bent out of shape about Trump too. It's like
it's
I mean, what has he done that's so wrong? Like, and they nitpick all these little things that are really just insignificant.
Yeah.
So,
It's true, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love how he's going after Elijah Cummings right now. He's tweet after tweet after tweet. I think he may be getting help, but it's nice that he's going after him hard. So,
yeah.
anyway, Steven, nice to hear from you.
Yeah, I appreciate it very much. I'm glad I got through.
Happy White History Month to you, by the way.
Happy White History Month to you as well.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, you too. By the way, you catch
Bye-bye.
church, right? Okay. Steven. David from Australia, first-time caller. How are you doing, man?
Good, James. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. Nice to hear from you.
Thank you. Just want to firstly say congratulations. Congratulations on your show. I think it's fantastic. It's 12 o'clock over here in Australia at night, so
Wow.
it's pretty late.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been watching Jesse Lee Peterson, and your show comes on afterwards. It's really good.
Yeah.
My fiance loves the music, the Hake Report. She just doesn't stop singing it to me. So
Nice. It's a good song. It's a great song. Both versions.
Very, very catchy. Very catchy.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about your topic. You're talking about how contraception.
Yeah.
It's happening over here in Australia as well. We're not having many white babies anymore,
Right.
and it's same a little bit. We've got like the Aboriginal culture out this way, and we find that they're populating a lot as well because of our welfare system that we have. So the more children you have, the more benefits you get.
Yeah.
So they're getting because Australia, the whites have taken the country and they're natives, they're getting Department of Housing, cheaper rent. Each baby you produce, you get a bonus on top of that. They get free health care, and that's just encouraging. Just run down slums within popular areas.
Yeah.
It's really
It's happening in all white countries, unfortunately.
yeah, that's right. And even now, like a national anthem in sporting games, the Aboriginal players won't even sing the national anthem.
Yeah.
And that's all well and fine, but the sporting chairman and CEOs are on the news and they're promoting it and they're saying, yeah, they don't have to, and I just don't think it's necessary.
Yeah. They're promoting
to
division.
publicise it.
They're kissing up to division.
Yeah, that's right. They're promoting division, exactly right. And and we're pretty weak. Unfortunately, the white man has gone pretty weak.
Yeah.
We're we're turning into girls.
I know.
And I really enjoy your show because you're actually pointing that out. And it's funny how a lot of religion, like I'm a Christian right now.
Can you come close to the phone?
And,
You're echoing a little bit.
Sorry.
That's better.
I'm a white Christian man.
Yeah.
And we're just I don't know, we're just weak. That's all I can say. We're just.
I've seen it where people claim falsely that we specifically I've seen this complaint leveled against Jesse, even totally false accusation that he does not offer solutions. That's a total lie. He presents solutions every day, and people are actually responding to the solution by taking it and running with it. You've seen not just Joel, but every day callers are forgiving their parents, turning their lives around, becoming winners instead of losers, becoming men or becoming women. And
Well, that's exactly right.
and there's also this lie that President Trump is dividing the country by calling out these people who are
not at all.
Yeah, he calls out, okay, because you guys have the Aboriginals who are sitting out the anthem. We have Colin Kaepernick and a bunch of blacks and liberals sitting out the anthem under the lie, the divisive lie that police are targeting blacks, which is not true. And, getting away with murder, which is also not true. And Trump is working to unite the country, stand for the anthem, love the country. But they're for dividing the country.
Right.
And so he's the only one calling out the dividers. And so it's so backwards what their world is. He's dividing good from evil, but he's uniting people around good. And so it's nice.
That's exactly right. And
and there's this whole thing about he will not divide us. Shia LaBeouf, whatever. Some actor said that Trump will not divide us. These people are so blind. And he's white. He white. Idiot. Anyway, David.
He's white. Like I said,
I was just thinking about how New Zealand has a female unmarried, has a baby out of wedlock, I think, living with her partner, maybe going to get married to a prime minister, a female prime minister, kissing up to the Muslims after the attack on the Muslim compound by the white eco-fascist. Man.
Yeah, that's it was really damaging to Australia as well, because after that terrorist attack, they're saying that the person that did it was from Australia.
Oh yeah.
And he actually did the satanic symbol as well.
A satanic symbol?
Court. Yeah. Yeah, he did that as well.
Uh-huh.
And that kind of demonised Australia. Because we got rid of our gun laws in 1995. And,
the guns?
Yeah, now we're not allowed to have, automatic rifles and stuff like that. So it's pretty hard to get a permit for a gun.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't bother me at the moment. I don't need it,
but it's wrong. Man,
you've got
what a mess.
You have a fantastic president. I definitely look up to him.
Me too.
Definitely bringing the country together, and I'm glad that we're allies with America.
Yeah, me too.
Because New Zealand is very weak.
It's shocking.
I don't know. We're meant to be a Catholic country, Australia, New Zealand, and I don't know why I should put the hijab on.
Right, and why do they have mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand? A city called Christchurch.
That's exactly right. So I don't know, people are saying conspiracy, like white people in conspiracy, that it was an excuse to get rid of the gun law, or to bring in a gun law.
It doesn't have to be
weapons.
It doesn't have to be a conspiracy, because they already set the stage for whites to overreact to the white weakness by becoming weak the other direction and killing people. So they don't need a conspiracy or a false flag or a fake incident or a staged event, because they've already set the stage. The society is ripe for people to lash out and do terrorist attacks like this. Society is ripe for that stuff. It's evil. So if you're not evil in softness, you're going to be evil in murderousness. So it's a mess. If it's not one form of weakness, it's another. Just like the conservatives are weak too, because they're angry and scared. Anyway, David, I appreciate it. Nice to hear from you.
No, thank you very much, and you're doing a great job. Thank you for your time.
Have a nice rest of your night.
Thanks, James.
All right, take care. Skip, out of Augusta, Georgia. Thank you for holding, Skip.
Hey, James, how you doing?
Fine. Nice to meet you. Nice to hear from you.
Nice to hear from you. I hope to meet you one day. I hope to meet all y'all one day. I I hope to get the money to come to California just to meet y'all. I really do.
Right on.
Look at here. I was listening to you first thing this morning,
Yep.
and I was eating a bowl of grits, and I almost choked on the grits when you started talking about 9/11.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Do you honestly believe that what they told us about 9/11 and how it happened really happened that way?
I only believe what I saw on TV.
And what did you see?
I saw planes flying into the building, and then the building came down.
Okay, what about Building 7? Did you see anything happen to Building 7?
I don't even know what Building 7 looks like.
You don't.
I thought that
So
there were
you-
only 2 towers.
Yeah, but there was a Building 7 that collapsed completely in on itself with just one fire on the floors. Plus, you got engineers that have said there's no way that the fuel from those airplanes could have got hot enough to heat those buildings up to make them collapse. But you believe it anyhow, right?
Yeah, I don't really get into that. To be honest, it doesn't matter. I'm using it as an example, an illustration to make a point, because I'm getting feedback sometimes. Like, are you on speakerphone or something, or you have the show going?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, it's just the bomber phone.
Okay. It doesn't really matter because we've had terror attacks that are unquestionably terror attacks. You can look at I could have easily used something else like the San Bernardino Muslim terror attacks when everybody fear-mongered about, oh, don't become Islamophobic now. They react pretty much the same way, but I do notice that with 9/11, the New Yorkers are emotionally hit really hard about it. And like over here on the West Coast, I didn't really react emotionally to it. I felt kind of guilty for not being emotional about it back then. Or I thought that I maybe should feel guilty. I didn't really feel guilty even. But even people I knew in Pennsylvania didn't really get emotional about it. But I just noticed that there's this, they got what they wanted. The terrorists got what they wanted, or whoever, the evil people say. Let's just call them the evil people, right? Got what they wanted because
you're wrong. You're wrong.
Listen,
Bush got what he wanted and got the war in Iraq.
Is Bush
exactly
is Bush evil? Hey,
from us.
Skip. Is Bush evil?
Yes, Bush is
then
evil.
I'm not
The whole
wrong.
family's evil.
Hey, Skip. Then I'm not wrong. The evil people got what they wanted because evil people use evil to make more evil with the false solutions.
Right, but that's our government at work.
Yeah. So I'm not wrong about it. Who cares about the conspiracy thing?
You're not completely wrong. But let me ask you this, James. Can I ask you something?
Sure.
We don't like the Muslims, and we know that they don't accept Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior.
I don't dislike the Muslims.
They believe. I don't say we hate them. I just say we.
You
don't
said we don't
agree
like
with
them. I didn't. No, you said we don't like them.
Well, I worded it wrong. I'm sorry. we don't agree with them, right? And we don't have anything as a Christian in common with the Muslims.
Right.
Well, what do we have in common with Israel when they don't believe that Jesus is the Lord and Savior? They believe a whole different thing. Why are we so in love with Israel?
They're closer to possibly becoming Christians, supposedly, because Jews become.
How is that, James?
Because Christianity is the true extension of Judaism. Like
Judaism.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yep. Because the Jews become Christians. Like true Jews are Christians because they followed God's Son Jesus into Christianity. So Christianity came from Judaism.
James.
You don't believe that? You don't.
No, I don't.
You didn't realize that?
No, I don't. No,
you
I
don't believe. Do you believe that do you ever read the Old Testament?
I read the Old Testament and New Testament all the time.
Then that's
I'm in a
Judaism.
wheelchair and can't go nowhere, so I read the Bible probably a lot more than you do, James.
That's fine, but so then that's from Judaism.
Let me ask you this.
But I don't really know. I don't really care. I noticed that everybody who's been to Israel says that it's even though that they have a whole lot of homosexuality and degeneracy like in America, It's a better to do place. They're not do-nothing complainers, kind of like the Palestinians supposedly are. I have heard that, there is some really gross stuff, like Tel Aviv is like a gay capital, like Atlanta, D.C., San Francisco. Just they're degrading, but there's some people fighting against it. But the evil people seem to be winning in all of these white countries. And so I don't really care. How come? I don't even want to get into that.
Well, let me ask you something, James. I was going to ask Jesse, but he got mad and hung up on me. So let me please ask you. There's nothing wrong.
He didn't get mad. He just realized that you weren't listening. You completely missed the point. He missed the point, James. He missed the point. I know, but that's how you see it. But that's because you're blind to the point that he made.
Well, a lot of people on chat saw it the same way too. So
I know. There's a whole lot of blind people. There's a whole lot of blind people that have this conspiracy theory against even Jesse.
Okay, well, let me ask you
because they're so
James.
shallow, they're hung up on the thing that they think that they know, and they miss the spirit behind what he's saying. They miss the deeper issue, and then they stay losers.
It's a spiritual issue. I agree with Jesse on that. It is a spiritual issue.
Then how come you refuse to listen to his point? How come your ears are so closed?
I listened to his point when
no, but your ears are closed. You're blind. There's no opening your eyes to his point.
So if I don't agree with Jesse on something, I'm blind.
Yeah.
I have to agree with him on everything.
Yep.
Well, you're blind, James. If you believe that.
Because
come on, James. For real, James.
I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
You're making Jesse sound like the Messiah.
No, you're making yourself sound blind.
No, I'm not. I just asked questions.
Because you completely missed his point, and now you're just you're saying, so I have to believe everything that he says. So you're a mocker. You're a mocker.
We can't have a civil debate.
No, because it's not a real debate. You're not really trying to see. You're blind. There's no trying to see.
Let me ask you what I was going to ask him, okay?
All right, go for it.
Okay. We call them Jews. Did you know there was 12 tribes in Israel?
Mm-hmm.
The 12 tribes of Israel? Actually, there was 13, but 12, okay?
Yeah.
All right. The tribe of Judah was called the Jews. How can you call all Israelites Jews?
Because David came from that tribe, I believe. Or maybe you didn't. I don't know. But anyways, I don't know, and I don't care because it's like...
You don't care? Well, that's the problem. You don't care, James.
Yeah, because you're hung up on empty knowledge when you're missing the points that Jesse's making, and then you're trying to beat me over the head with it. And I don't accept it. I don't accept it because you're trying to force me to talk about something that I don't care about.
I'm not trying to force you to talk about it. I just want
because you go around like a snake in the grass. Talking about me and Jesse.
I'm not a snake in the grass, James.
Well, I said that you'd go around talking like one.
No, I don't talk like a snake in the grass. If I can't ask questions, then you're taking away my one of my rights, right?
No.
Calling me a snake in the grass because I want to ask.
Are you gonna take away my right to call you as I see you?
No, I don't take it away from you. It kind of hurts me that you think I'm a snake in the grass.
Well, I mean, I can't help I can't help my impression.
Oh, you can't help your feelings?
No, my impression.
Well, that's how you feel.
No, that's my impression.
Impressions?
Yeah.
Okay, James. Well, look at here. We're not getting anywhere with this, and you got some other callers on hold.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right, have a nice Sunday, man.
9/11 is not what you think it was, like the Oklahoma Trade Building.
And it doesn't even matter a bit because if you don't know yourself and you can't interpret the present times and you can't live right yourself, then what use is knowing so-called history anyways?
James, I know myself, but I just know what's going on around this world, too. And if you think Trump is for America before Israel, then you are just as blind as you called me being blind.
Yep, I know that you think that. That's why you're a snake. All right, Skip, gotta go, man. Robert out of Kansas, how are you?
Hey, doing well. How are you, man?
Fine. Nice to hear from you.
Good. Good to talk to you. I was going to call in about 9/11. I want to let you know that the children of the lie, they presented you a narrative on 9/11. It was all fake. It was all lies. And it was just to take us to war into the Middle East to fight the enemies of Israel, or what I like to call fake Israel, because it's false. And that's really what's going on. We have.
That's why I'm glad that President Trump is president, because he's an independent thinker. He doesn't fall in line with you guys, and he doesn't fall in line with the so-called neocons. He's an independent thinker. He loves everybody. He's not hung up on this conspiracy theory stuff, but he is a skeptical person. And he thinks for himself. So that's what I love about the fact that he's president, because he loves all people. He loves America and Israel. And it's funny because I like the fact that he does that, because it triggers and trolls you guys that are triggered by any mention of Israel or Jews. So I'm glad that he does that.
I'm triggered by evil. And if
I know, but are you triggered by the evil within yourself?
Absolutely, Hake.
So then how come you don't just focus on overcoming that rather than worrying about stuff that you have no control over?
I'm trying to tell you what went on. You are under
But I don't care about what went on. Because my analysis was correct.
9/11 when they didn't.
My analysis was correct. It doesn't matter what happened or didn't happen, because the evil people used that incident for evil, and it's only gotten worse since then. And we brought these people into our country. We gave them visas and stuff like that, all that fake tolerance stuff. So I'm right. And then it also triggered the conspiracy theorists to go even more nutty and destroy themselves, become losers in life, and go on YouTube and waste their lives.
Well, Hake, I'm not a loser, and I know that Skip is not a snake, and I think that you need to look into 9/11 again and try to see what's going on, man.
It's a useless pursuit of knowledge. It's empty.
It's reality. You're being fed
No,
a
reality
lie,
is
Hake,
reality is present day. Reality is present day. Reality is here and now.
Okay. Have you ever seen the Israeli flag, Hake? Have you seen that flag?
What's your issue with that? I don't even care.
I want you to look at that flag and look what's on that flag. There's a 6-pointed star. Now,
that's the Star of David. Who cares?
What that actually means, then you understand what that state really is. It's the synagogue of Satan.
Hey, so are you. You're the synagogue of Satan too.
Well, it says it right in the Bible. Those
that's what you are too.
That are not Jews.
That's what you are too. That's what you are too.
Well, that's very childish, Hake. That's very childish.
No, it's the truth.
Just to attack me personally.
No, it's the truth.
That you know me, so you know the truth about me. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you're hung up. You're hung up on something. You're always trolling. You're not winning in life.
Hake, I've already won, man. I just want you to know that you are believing into the lie, and you need to do your own research, and you'll discover that it's very different from what the mainstream media tells you it is. It's completely
I don't
the
care.
opposite.
I really don't care. It's like
you don't
boring.
Care that you're believing onto the lie?
Because who cares about that stupid thing? Why are you so hung up on that as if it's so enlightening to your life?
Well, they took our rights
you people
away
think
based
that you're
on
so
9/11, man.
You think that you're so enlightened. But what can you do about it? Nothing.
I can try to tell the truth to as many people as I can, and you are a powerful man in that regard.
That's why
I wanted to call and talk to you.
No, you guys are clingers on to try to exploit our platform to just spout your nonsense.
No, Hake, I love your platform. I don't want to exploit it.
No,
it's
just you feel positively about it, but you got a snake inside of you.
Well, I can be a bad guy, Hake. You're
See,
right.
I told you.
There's some stuff in me, but
so then that's why you should aim for perfection rather than clinging on to this nonsense.
That's what I'm doing. I'm aiming for perfection. You are believing to a lie, and I'm telling you the truth. And as your brother, that's all I can do. I love you. That's all I can do. My
brother and Satan.
And if you think that I'm evil for telling you the truth, well, there's lots of stuff about that in the Bible.
So-called truth. It's so-called truth. You're spouting knowledge. It's not truth.
Well, thanks for taking my call, Hake. You're a great guy, and everybody else. Y'all have a good day.
Yeah, take care. I have I have a funny Black Lives Matter meme that I want to touch on, but I want to get to these calls. Jesse, first-time caller out of Texas. Jesse, how are you?
Hey, how are you? I'm good.
Fine. How about what's up?
Hey, well, I kind of wanted to get off the 9/11 stuff, but I've been kind of, it's about Zionism because I've been searching this out for a long time and it's kind of eaten me up. You know, in the dictionary, Zionism means that Jews have the right.
Why would that eat you up?
Well, because there's a lot of hate going on towards Zionists. I mean, there's a lot of people.
There's a lot of hate towards everybody. But who cares about that word, Zionism?
Well, because I think it's taking on a new meaning. And, you know, if you look in the dictionary, it says that it just, you know, if you're a Zionist, you believe that Jews have the right to their own land.
Uh-huh.
And I believe that. That's something I believe. Okay? But in today's world, it's like, you know, they've put in people that aren't even Jews into the Zionist world, or basically the Zionists want to control the world. And I kind of wanted to see where you thought what the word Zionist meant to you.
I think it's just the dictionary definition, but some people use it to be like, the conspiracy theorists use that as basically another word for neocon or globalist or something like that.
Yeah, that's
because there's a push to push evil into all nations, and it is evil, and they're part of that push too. By the way, the people that hate the Jews, the people that blame the anti-Zionists, they're part of that same push that's pushing evil into the world, and they don't realize it. But there's a push to push homosexuality into well, it's already in all white nations basically, and now they're pushing it into Africa and Asia and everywhere else. And I mean, that's just one example. They're pushing all kinds of evil, right? And so it's just about control and power. That's the way that they use it. But I really don't care. I'm not into this empty, shallow political conspiracy theory stuff. I'm into just pointing out the stuff that we know, sticking with what you know, and also focusing on self and getting yourself right. These people are so blind that they'll lie about Jesse and they'll lie about me. And that's why I realize that although there is a lot of truth to what they say, sometimes they talk about birth rates and stuff like that. And they talk about how evil the other people are, but they never check themselves. They pretend to, they try to, but they're just, as long as you have anger in your heart, you're an evil person. And you're supporting the people that you think that you're fighting against. Like everyone who has anger is a liberal, is what Jesse said in church one time. And that's a fact, because even though you may be politically conservative, through your anger, you're being used for evil and supporting liberalism.
One of the things I've been doing lately is just sticking straight to the Bible and studying the Bible and trying to stay out of everything.
Uh-huh.
But for some reason, that word has bothered me just because of how it's being used and saying, it's the Zionists do this, the Zionists do that. And
I would say don't worry about it, because there's always going to be evil people using a misnomer. Like, it's just like racism. They're using that. Their racism is the boogeyman for the leftists, and sexism and stuff like that. So for the right, it's Zionism. That's their boogeyman. When in reality, the evil is within.
I appreciate that. I really do, because it has bothered me for a while, and I'm gonna go with what you say, and I appreciate you and Jesse.
All right.
Listen to y'all, and everything you say it always works. So thank you very much.
Cool. Appreciate it, Jesse. All right, you too.
You're welcome.
Make sure you catch church with Jesse Lee Peterson.
I will.
All right.
You.
Let me get to some super chats. Red Leader says, Hake, forgive yo mama or suffer and die. Thank you for the advice. Born Mature 1 says, these are fantastic updates. Thank you for starting early. Thank you, Born Mature. Yeah. Trump started the wall, and all the naysayers, the people that think Trump loves Israel more than America, idiots. He loves America, and he's continuing to fight, and he's not giving up. And all these people that are giving up on Trump and giving up on the wall, and some of them didn't even vote for Trump, and they're saying nasty things about Jesse and making up stuff about me. They're blind people. Trump hasn't given up, so why should you? Conspiracy theories are fun, says Rolf J. Jimmy Morgan says, good morning, happy White History Month. Supreme Court rules to let our president build the border wall. Oh, the wall going up. And he says, Jimmy Morgan also says, hating the Jews is not the truth. Yeah, the truth is not just facts. The truth is spirit. And if you are an evil person, you can't even tell the truth because you're just spouting off empty knowledge. And Jimmy DM on D Live says, happy White History Month. Oh yeah, he said the same thing. Noah's Arkansas says, the Hake Report without Joel and Esteban. Appreciate the Ninja Guinea and the diamonds and all that. Last quick thing. Let me get to this Black Lives Matter thing. It's in the no folder. Do not use. Let me real quick get to this because it was something that I came across when I was looking at stuff. You have it up? It says Black Lives Matter, and then it lists all these names. They try to overwhelm you with their information. And then so I gave like the real story on the Black Lives Matter in so-called victims. And it's funny because they use Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, all these people who were false victims. And then they use actual more victim people like Emmett Till, who was ancient history, like old news, right? And they used one other guy, Jordan Davis, who I really believe he should not have been killed. And then they use these other names like Renisha McBride, who was drunk and high and banging on a neighbor's door, and then Oscar Grant, who he was killed by accident. It appeared. This guy choked apparently. This guy maybe thought he was pulling out his taser. And then he pulled a gun and shot Oscar Grant in the back. But it was in an escalated situation. And why are blacks always escalating their situations? Whites are going down the same road, too, unfortunately. All right, guys. That's that for the Hake Report. Appreciate it. And we'll see you in church with Jesse Lee Peterson. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. Bond Rebuilding the Man channel on YouTube. Also, Bond Rebuilding the Man on Facebook. We are streaming on Facebook for Bond Rebuilding the Man only. Not Jesse Lee Peterson, not the Hake Report, because of false cries of so-called hate speech. Really, hate speech. Also, the truth from Jesse, which is love. All right, guys. See you tomorrow as well. I will be live on Jesse's channels Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time in the 4th hour. All right? Take care.